Welcome to Chakras and Cuss Words, a podcast that dives into self-improvement, completing goals, and overcoming modern-day obstacles. I am your host, Catherine, and together we will address our fears, establish self-awareness, and complete self-growth through honesty and reflection. Remember to please like and share this podcast. Thank you. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this room. Welcome to the Women's Club. So my name is Catherine. I am the podcast host and spiritual intuitive alchemist and nurse. And this is a room that's dedicated to the root chakra. So if you are just learning about the chakra system, I really recommend checking out my podcast and my website for more information about the chakra system, because I'm not going to get too much into the whole system. That's something that I've already very much tackled on many of my rooms. This is more about solely the root chakra. So to understand the root chakra, you need to have some understanding that the chakra system is energy. We are all energy. And the chakras are seen as spinning. Some people see them as spinning wheels. Some people almost see them as spears that are spinning in a opposite, like triangular direction. Really, however you visualize each chakra is really up to you. When we are working with energy, there are fundamental principles and philosophies that are pretty structured, but overall, the way that you interpret it is really up to you. So I see some amazing people in the audience. I see Diane. I see Brianna and Mancine and Mara. So let's talk about the root chakra. So we have 7 chakras, okay? We have 7 main chakras that travel up and down our body, kind of like our midline from where we start our spine all the way to our head, the top of our head, which is known as the crown. So the first chakra is the root chakra. The second chakra is the sacral chakra. And then the third chakra is the solar plex. The fourth is the heart. The fifth is the throat. And the sixth is the third eye. And then your seventh is your crown chakra. Each one of those chakras has its own element. And it also has its own energy of source, its own energy of structure, and its own energy of properties. The root chakra, being the first chakra, is really fundamentally based on the spine area, the lower base of the spine, the coccygeal plexus. It's also really tapped into our survival instinct and our safety, our security. It's kind of like our foundation. It's really much that structure of what our foundation is, right? If we were a tree, our root chakra would be our roots of our tree trunk. It would be the roots that are settled in the ground. The area that once came from a seed is now growing into the element of the earth. It would really be that strong structure that holds us upright. This chakra also is very much centered in stability, grounding, and physical health. Sometimes when we have areas of trauma or if we have areas of imbalance in the root chakra, we will see it with the sciatic nerve. We will also see it with the legs, with the pelvis, with that area in whole. But for most of the part, the root chakra also has issues with insecurities such as anxiety, distress, safety issues, and insecurities that really kind of show out when it's time to deal with the public, or when it's time to deal with situations that make us nervous. So for anybody who is just learning about the chakra system, I really emphasize going into the podcast Chakras and Cuss Words and learning more about how you see the chakra system, because this is fundamentally just on the root chakra. The root chakra is really that presence of here and now. It's really that state of mind of taking in what you feel and having that ability to release it. It's also an area where I guess you could say misalignment, depletion, or blockages tend to happen in a very early age, sometimes even before birth. The root chakra starts to have implications, especially if there's areas with the mother's womb, if there's areas with the mother, if there's areas of some sense of tragedy during the pregnancy, if there's areas of distrust, possibly even in the pregnancy's relationship, that does center on to the womb. It does center on to the baby at this time. Most people really learn the traits that come up during the first few years of life. For the womb to 12 months is what most philosophers of the chakra system really emphasize. Also, with the root chakra, there's an area of identity that really is almost the structure, right? If we think about it as not necessarily a person, but we think about it as, let's say, a building or a business. And I do work with the chakra system when I help people align their businesses. When we think of it as a business and not a person, the root chakra is the foundation of the business, is the foundation of the brand, is the foundation and the structure of what is going to come, right? If you don't have a strong business, if you don't have a strong alignment in your business, then something is probably off-centered with the root chakra, meaning the business might be structured in not knowing its full identity, where the business keeps going back and forward in different areas. And I see this a lot with a lot of coaches and clients. While we could all be multidimensional, multifaceted, our business or our brand has to have a strong foundation and structure. And that also is something that symbolizes the root chakra as the spirit, as well as the human, as the soul, as the one walking this earth. Without a strong foundation or stability of alignment, of identity, of who we are, we're going to really see those misalignments. We're going to see that fear come back up, that area of where I don't know how to survive, that area of I'm unclear what I should do because I'm having a hard structure with my identity. I'm having a hard structure with my foundation. And with the root chakra is either blocked or it is excessive. And a lot of people don't speak on the excessiveness of the chakras. A lot of people think that the chakras are only blocked or depleted or misaligned, but really an excessive root chakra. An excessive chakra is one of the hardest areas to realign. And the reason why is because there's so much energy in that structure. There's so much energy in that area of space. There's so much energy in those properties. So for someone who is depleted or blocked in their root chakra, they will have areas of fear. They will also have areas of anxiety and feeling very unstructured. For somebody who is excessively aligned in their root chakra, right? So their root chakra is excessive, not blocked, but excessive. This is where we will tend to see possibly hoarding, areas with materialism. It's because they're yearning for that identity. They're yearning for that stability. They're yearning for that missing puzzle piece that's really held within. So instead of doing the healing and instead of doing the area of knowledge, they're increasing their energy in their foundation, in their area of protection with material items. They're really structured around creating a sense of false safety, creating a sense of false identity. They also feel very comfortable at being at home, right? Very comfortable in certain spaces. This would be somebody who has talked about maybe trying to leave their job for years. They're somewhat unhappy with their job, right? Or they know that they want better for themselves. Or there's areas where they know that they can improve in their work, or there's areas that they can find that structure where they can leave. But they're so comfortable that they would rather take that comfortability because they don't want to feel unsafe. They don't want to take the chance of leaving a position because it's safe, because it's comfortable, because I'm already aligned here. I already have a structure here. So they would rather stay somewhere and not fully grow, not fully achieve what they can achieve, and stay in this structure because this is where they feel safe. And that is usually an excessive root chakra. Also, with the excessive root chakra, we see a lot of areas with weight gain. And trust me, weight gain comes for many reasons, right? But when it comes from the root chakra, it's usually because that endorphins of release during the area of eating and during the area of feeling safe and feeling good is released, where the safety comes back up. They know that they're feeling unsafe or they're feeling anxious. But instead of structuring around grounding or meditation or finding a Reiki practitioner or learning about their chakra energy, they do overeat, or they eat on impulse, or they eat excessively throughout the day, right? Like they're eating just throughout the day nonstop. And the reason why is because their excessive chakra of their root has so much energy that they have to deplete it down. They have to deplete it down with heavy product of food, of heavy product where they feel some sense of relief, some sense of safety, some sense of comfortability. We see it also when the root chakra is blocked as well, but the excessive root chakra, we tend to see it more. Also with hoarding is a very big one with excessive root chakra. This is the area of, I don't want to give anything up. I want to live in this clutter. I want to live in this space. And I actually had a client who was hoarding cats. And she loved cats. She wanted to rescue all the cats everywhere. She wanted to rescue them. She wanted to feed them. She wanted to care for them. She wanted to make sure these cats were safe, right? And hoarding comes from a lot of childhood traumas. I worked with her after she worked with a psychiatrist. But it came to the point where we had to break that safety net. We had to break that area where she felt safe knowing she was going to see all these cats, right? Having all these cats in her home, because it started to become a problem with not only her personal relationships, but her relationships with others for different reasons. The cats were now wandering onto the neighbors' yards. The cats were now starting to go to her house so much that you would drive by her house and you would see 10, maybe sometimes 16 cats outside. Cats were getting hit by cars. So that once safety net started to become something that created anxiety, created stress, created friction in other relationships of her life. So that was an area of safety that we had to let go of, especially with an excessive root chakra. You're going to want to hold on to that safety as much as you can, because the area of you feeling unsafe, you don't like it. Not even a little bit. So you create these areas where you are just overly comfortable. For people who are with a blocked root chakra, and this usually, when you start working with people or when you're evaluating yourself, this is the one that I would almost say is more frequent. It's the one that you tend to see more than the excessive. It is also the one where you can kind of tell what's going on. This would be somebody who is very much structured in anxiety and fear. They can't leave their house because they get anxious when they're in a restaurant. They can't put themselves in areas that might make them feel a little unsafe. They also have a frequent fear of structure. They don't like people telling them what to do. They do not like it. They also have an area of restlessness. So they're either that person who can't go into the restaurant because they're feeling very anxious, and being around all these people is making me very, very anxious and I need to go home. Or they're that person who can't stay in their house. And that's a big one too. It's like every day they have to find something to do where they aren't alone with themselves. Every day they have to go somewhere. Every day they have to leave their house. They have to do something. They don't know what it is. It's just something. They have to do something because they have that fear of structure. They have that fear of being safe in some ways. They have that fear of, I have to be alone with myself. Where somebody with an excessive root chakra, they just want to be alone, right? They just want to be alone. be in their house. Don't take them out of their safety net. Don't take them out of their pot. But this one, they tend to want to leave. They want to get out of their house. They don't know why, but they got stuff to do. They don't even know what the stuff is. Usually their type of hoarding is a little bit different. It's not with material items. It's more with projects. It's more with areas of structure. It's more with areas of, I got to create all these projects. I got to do all these things. So they're the ones who, in the business of not knowing their identity, they're the ones in, like, let's say their business where they got too much going on, right? They got way too much going on. They're a personal trainer who owns a clothing line, who owns a podcast, who's structured in a shake shop, who's got collaborations with all these places and sells jewelry on the side. I don't know. They have so much going on that they aren't structured in one thing where the business fails because they're trying to do it all. It's very much similar to an excessive solar plex, but this is a blocked root chakra. Also, they tend to be sometimes underweight, not necessarily overweight like we saw in the excessive root chakra, but underweight. They're usually very fidgety. They're usually very restless, anxious, and uncentered. They're not grounded. They're that plant whose the roots are all over the place. You can't keep that plant in one container. That plant is everywhere. And you might think, this doesn't sound that bad, right? I would like to do all these things. I would like to. Yes, it's not bad, but if you are on one goal and you are in one area of creation, the unalignment is going to prevent the stability and growth. So that is really the areas that you will see with the excessiveness and the blocked chakras of the root. Also for the root chakra, since it is the first chakra, it is related to earth. And some of you might say, well, what does this mean, right? Okay, it's related to earth. So what does this mean? This means that your natural ability to calm that chakra or to release that chakra or to gain that chakra will come from earth. It will come from the element of earth. You can also use this with astrology. With times that you are structured around the earth chakra would be the time that you are structured around the earth element with the zodiacs. So for instance, if you are a Taurus, for the new moon in Taurus, let's say, or the full moon in Taurus, this is when you would use that astrological event to tap into that earth element and use the actual earth. If it's grounding, if it's outside meditation, if it's uncomfortable grounding. And a lot of people ask me, what is uncomfortable grounding? It's grounding that you do when you are uncomfortable. And a lot of people don't understand this process, but for somebody who has an excessive root chakra, who hates to feel uncomfortable, that is something we have to bring them to know that they can take in that uncomfortability and that area where They don't like it. And this makes me feel real nervous and I don't like it. And I don't like feeling this uncomfortable. But guess what? They pull through. They survive it. They're able to learn from it. They're able to grow from it. They're able to move from it. Also, with somebody who is in the area of depletion with the root chakra, you're going to use that element of the earth to really pick that energy back up. And then that is with the soil, that is with the land, that is with the elements of the earth. If that means that you go outside every morning and you spend at least 15 minutes telling yourself, acknowledging that you are safe, acknowledging a safe space in your house, acknowledging that nothing is going to harm you more than your own mind if you allow it to, because you have put yourself in this area of fear and structure that you've now made it so you can't live life. You can't go to the restaurant. You can't go to the beach with your friends because the anxiety of being in the car is too much. The anxiety of being away from your structure or being unaligned is too much. That it's just easier for you to avoid these things. That is your own mind letting your energy in your root chakra take life, take its unbalance. And I speak of these things because I've worked with people who have had these traits, who've had these areas where going to a restaurant with their family is something they can't do. Some people are like, what? Yes, going to a restaurant with their family is something they cannot do because of the anxiety, because they feel unsafe. And I'm going to tell you, I know that many people get on medications and prescriptions for anxiety. And there's other ways to work through it. And using your own energy and your chakra energy to move forward, because some people don't like medications. Some people don't like taking pills. They don't like the way it makes them feel. And there's other areas and techniques that you can do that will move you forward in your healing process, especially with the fear or the imbalance of the root chakra. And what I teach is a little different than, it's not necessarily Reiki. While we do releasing sessions of energy, it's different in the formulation that it's structure of what you do every day. It's a practice. It's a change of lifestyle. It is a change of your thought process. It is a change of your energy alignment that you do yourself through guidance, that you do by doing practices, intentions, and rituals every day that creates your chakra energy to be aligned. And especially with the root chakra, that is probably one of the chakras that when I work with somebody, we are always going back to the root chakra. It's that chakra, like the first three, that you're going to have to really go back to, not just once or twice, but you are going to go back to it multiple times in your life. And anybody who tells you that your chakras are going to be perfectly aligned all the time, they're going to be perfectly centered all the time, is fucking lying to you. Nobody can do that but you. Nobody can take that area of energy and transfer it to different areas but you. People can guide you and coach you and help you release, but you are the only one who can take that energy and say, my energy is really unaligned right now. I'm feeling very anxious, and realign it. Put it somewhere else. Create a space where that energy flows out or flows in, depending on what is going on. And that's the thing, is there's going to be times where people can't get to their coach. There's going to be times where people can't get to a guided meditation. There's going to be times where people can't get to that area of safety. And finding ways and techniques to work through it is one of the most important things. Is you having that own creation, you having that own mindset. And the word mindset to me just sometimes, but you having that own energy where you say, I need to release this, I need to receive this, or I need to move this away. Because sometimes we can't, at the time, we don't realize that our mind is letting us accumulate this excessive energy in certain areas of our body. Also, for the root chakra, it is a lot of healing. So for most people, if they are centered in healing the root chakra, I do recommend that they talk to a licensed professional first. And the reason why I say that, or if they've already been through therapy or through areas of that, is because I don't concentrate on the trauma. You need to be healed from it at some area of capacity where you can learn a different technique. We're never going to be fully healed from our traumas. We're never going to be fully released from our traumas because it's something that has happened to us. It is a part of us. It is still the area of our area in our soul. It is still a memory that we can't fully bury. It's still there. It's still a part of us. It's who we are. But what we have to do is accept this area and accept this grief and accept this shadow and move forward from it. So I don't go back into the trauma area. I move forward. If a client wants to share with me what it is, that's fine, but we are moving forward. So if they are still very much focused on the releasing, I will actually send them to a licensed professional first. One of the most important things is connecting with the body during the healing process of the root chakra, of the alignment of energy, is understanding that your legs, your structure, and your stability is the foundation of the root, is the foundation. Seeing how the root chakra is, I guess you could say, how is the root chakra affecting your relationships, is something I really have people look at, because that just brings up more imbalances and more misalignment when you have a structure of energy that's affecting not only your personal space and your personal energy, but affecting the energy of others. I also say, when you are in the center of healing and learning and moving forward towards your root chakra, you do have to look at the negative views that you continue to hold on to. And the reason why is because they come from somewhere. They come from a structure of something. and you have to release them. You have to really release those generational curses, because a lot of times with the root chakra, it's coming from early childhood areas, early childhood traumas, early childhood areas where we didn't feel safe. And we have to look at it as a whole. And what did we inherit? And what are we going to release? Have you ever met a mother whose child, the mother had anxiety for a very long time? The mother was always anxious. Do you think her child would be anxious too? Most of the time, it's coming from somewhere. It's inherited. It's a trait. It's something that we have learned because it's been passed on through generations. It's been passed on through maternal wombs and wounds, maternal wombs and wounds. We have to feel secure with the fact that life is life. We can't change our destiny in life. We can't change what happened to us in life. We can't change that area where we don't really have it all figured out, right? None of us are guaranteed tomorrow. None of us. I've worked in the emergency room for over 10 years, for over a decade. And I can tell you, most everybody that I've seen die had no idea, unless they were on hospice care or unless they were on palliative care, that they were going to die the next day. That this chapter would be closed and they would go on to what's to behold. We don't know our destiny. We don't know our life plan destiny. All we know is what we can make it right now. And to fully live life, we have to fully accept that. Uh-oh, it says I'm in the matrix. Okay, I hope not. So we also have to value our commitments and our structure of our roots. For instance, I'm going to be honest. Today, I woke up and I didn't necessarily want to do this room. I was like, ugh. I had a busy day yesterday. I worked with a client and I just feel like I used a lot of energy yesterday. I think I went to bed at 8:30. I was exhausted. And I woke up today and I was like, oh, I don't feel prepared for the root chakra. I don't feel prepared to have a room to record a podcast on the root chakra. I don't know if I can do this. But it was a commitment I made to myself. It was a commitment I made to you. It was a commitment I made. And we have to value our commitments. We have to value our structure. We have to value our foundation when we are working through the root chakra. And we have to really learn to keep them. And like I said before, none of our chakras are going to be aligned and perfect all the time. There's times where I have canceled rooms. I've said, I cannot today. And it's not that I'm not committed to this work. It's because my energy sources were off aligned. It was not the right day, and that's okay. Like I said, our roots chakra, our sacral chakra, our solar plex chakra, our heart chakra, our throat chakra, our third eye chakra, and our crown chakra are never going to be perfect all the time. They're never going to be fully aligned all the time. They are centers of area that we receive and distribute energy. The energy is not always going to be fully aligned. And that is something we have to accept as life. That is part of life that we have to accept. So these are some questions I am going to leave you with. And if you want to write them down, or if you want to read them and look over for them, these are all related to the root chakra. I want you to look at your life right now, at your center of your life. And do you feel that you are structured and aligned in your happiness right now? If you feel aligned and structured, what are the areas of gratitude that you are very much structured in, that you're very much centered in? And write them down. Also write down the areas where maybe you're not feeling so aligned and you're not feeling so structured. Write those down so you can see what it is that you need to release, that you need to move forward, or also see the areas that you really need to continue to bring that energy towards. Also, I want you to look at your family's inherited practices. And for some people, this is almost like a assignment that kind of feels hard because they can't sometimes remember because they've chose to block it out. But look at the inherited traits of the family in the root chakra alignment. Did mom have anxiety? Did she like to go places? Would she rather stay at home? Look at dad. Did dad like to go places? Was he never home? That's a big one. A lot of the times, the men are the ones with the blocked root chakra more than the women. Was dad always out and about, very restless, always on edge? What dynamics did this create in the relationship of the parents, of the parental and child relationships? What areas of this were inherited? What generational curses are you planning on breaking? Also, I want you to look at your sense of self. How do you feel about yourself, about your identity? How do you feel about the structure that you are in? And sometimes some of us feel amazing, right? Sometimes some of us feel amazing about the structure we're in. And another thing is not everybody needs to change something. There's many people who are fine just the way they are. They are extremely happy in their present state. They are not only happy, but they are comfortable. They are in a good space. It's when you're feeling unaligned interpersonally, and you see it affecting your relationships, especially relationships with family. That's when you want to work through your chakra system. I mean, I think working through your chakra system every day is beneficial, but it's usually when something is coming up that's bringing a misalignment, and not only with you, but relationships. But if you're in a good place, then write that down and own it. That is owning your identity. I remember people asked me when I created my business and when I created my podcast, when was I going to leave nursing? How come I have to leave nursing? This is something I worked so hard at because now I'm centered in a different space, in a different type of healing and a different type of practicing. I have to leave nursing. That's a title that I earned. That's something that took me many years to learn, many years of schooling, of practice, of mistakes, of teaching. Just because we're in one area of our life doesn't mean we have to give up all the others. I don't ever want to leave nursing. I think it's one of the best professions in the world. I think nursing is one of the best professions in the world, and I advocate for many nurses. Not every department is the best, not every hospital is the best, not every area is the best, but nursing as a whole, as a profession, to me, I would never leave it. That is a goal that I set when I was in my late 20s, early 30s to become a nurse. I will never leave that identity. Just because I'm on a different road doesn't mean I have to leave a practice that I love or an element that I love. And then also, I want you to look at your eating habits. And a lot of people, when they start coaching with me, because I have two types of clients. I have clients that are very much structured on the chakra system, either through their personal life or through their business life. And if we're working through their chakras towards their business, we don't really dive into this. But if you are in my coaching for a personal life, I ask you about your eating habits. I ask you about what it is that you are eating throughout the day and how are you eating this? Are you frantic? Are you calm? Are you taking time to enjoy the food? And after you eat, how do you feel? Do you still feel hungry? Some people within a blocked root chakra aren't eating enough. They barely eat. Some people with an excessive chakra overeat. So how are you feeling after you eat? And I want you to look at that. And I really want you to look at that for a personal reason as well. And what habits is it that is centered around the energy of eating? Are you eating on the go? Are you sitting down? So those are a few questions for you guys to do. And I want to thank everybody who came in this room and everybody who is listening to the replay. And I will be doing the astrology and tarot room readings tomorrow on Clubhouse every Sunday at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So you could check that room out, and everybody have an amazing day. Bye.